Good morning, pre-K. Our sight word this week, O-U-T, out. Out. Did you find any out words yesterday? Well, today we're going to have our fun time where we rhyme our words. These are some words that I came up with that sounded like out. Rhyming is on the end. So, shout, pout, about, trout. You think we can make a silly sentence with some of those words? If you're out and about and you shout at a trout, he will pout. Okay, how about that? That's a silly sentence. So keep looking for O-U-T, out. Okay, guys, I think probably we stopped in our chapter 11 yesterday. I think we'll probably finish tomorrow. If not, for sure, we'll finish on Thursday. So here we are, chapter 11. Remember, she was at the trial. It's very silly. Trial for the Knave of Hearts. And if you'll remember, the Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts on a summer day. The Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts and took them quite away. I wonder what flavor they were. Anyway, the Queen has had him arrested. And he's going to trial. And there's a judge. And there's a jury. These are all birds and animals. The king is there. We're hoping that if she does anything really crazy, he will stop her. And Alice is watching all this, and she'd been talking, and you're supposed to be quiet. So Alice may get in trouble too. Let's see what happens. Oh, when we stopped too, if you remember, Alice was starting her special potion that she was eating. That little mushroom thing was wearing off, and she was starting to grow larger again. I wish you wouldn't squeeze so close to me, said the Dormouse, who was sitting next to her. I can hardly breathe. I can't help it, said Alice. I'm growing. You have no right to grow here, said the Dormouse. Don't talk nonsense, said Alice. You know, you're growing too. Yes, but I grow at a reasonable pace, said the Dormouse. All this time, the Queen had been staring hard at the Hatter because they were questioning him. Isn't this the stranger from the last concert who murdered the time? That's really kind of a silly joke if you know music. She asked an officer, and the Hatter trembled so much he shook both of his shoes off. Give your evidence, the king repeated angrily, or I'll have you executed whether you're nervous or not. I'm a poor man, your majesty, the Hatter began in a trembling voice, and I had just begun my tea about a week ago or so, and with that the bread and butter getting so thin, and the twinkling of the tea, the twinkling of what, said the king? It began with the tea, the Hatter said. Of course, twinkling begins with a T, said the king sharply. Do you take me for a dunce? Go on. I'm a poor man, said the Hatter. Then the miserable Hatter dropped his teacup and the bread and butter and went down on one knee. I'm a poor man, your majesty, he began again. You're a very poor speaker, said the king. One of the guinea pigs cheered and was immediately suppressed by the officers of the court. Suppressed is a hard word, so I will just explain it to you, what they did. They had a large bag, which tied at the top with strings, so they slipped the guinea pig in head first, and then they sat on it. Kind of like a couch, I guess. I'm glad I've seen that done, thought Alice. I never understood what it meant until now. Wait a minute. Yep. If that's all you know about it, you may stand down, continued the king. I can't go any lower, said the Hatter. I'm on the floor as it is. Then you may sit down, the king replied. Here, another guinea pig cheered and was suppressed. I'm going to have a bags full of guinea pigs. There, that finishes the guinea pigs, thought Alice. Now we will get more done. I'd rather finish my tea, said the Hatter, looking nervously at the Queen. You may go, said the King, and the Hatter quickly left the court without even putting on his shoes. And just take his head off outside, the Queen said to one of the officers, but the Hatter was out of sight before the officer even got to the door. Call the next witness, said the King. The next witness was the Duchess's cook. She carried the pepper box in hand, and Alice guessed who it was even before she got into the court by the way people near the door began sneezing all at once. You know, pepper will make you sneeze. So here she is with the pepper. She doesn't look like much fun, does she? I'm not sure I'd want her to cook for me. Give your evidence, said the King. Shan't, said the cook. The King looked nervously at the White Rabbit, who said in a low voice, Your Majesty must question this witness. Well, if I must, I must, said the King, folding his arms and frowning at the clock until his eyes were completely closed. He said in a deep voice, What are tarts made of? Pepper, said the cook. Treacle, said a sleepy voice behind her, and I think we talked about that before. Treacle is really a kind of syrup. It's good. Collar that dormouse, the Queen shrieked out. Behead the dormouse. Turn that dormouse out of the court. Suppress him. Pinch him. Off with his whiskers. For a few minutes, the whole court was in confusion. They chased the dormouse out, and by the time they had settled down again, the cook had disappeared. Oh, never mind, said the King with great relief. Call the next witness, and he turned to the Queen and said, Really, my dear, you must question the next witness. It makes my forehead ache. Alice watched the White Rabbit as he fumbled over the list. She was very curious to see what the next witness would be like. They haven't got much evidence yet, she said to herself. If you don't know evidence, because that's a big word, that means things that have happened. When you get evidence, you try and collect all the truthful facts about something. Imagine Alice's surprise when the White Rabbit read out at the top of his shrill little voice the name Alice. And that's the end of the chapter. Whew. What in heaven's name could Alice know about the tarts? We don't know, but I guess we'll find out in our very last chapter tomorrow, chapter 12. It's called Alice's Evidence. So we'll see if she has any truth about this. Maybe she knows something we don't know about the tarts. But the way these people are, they're also silly, all these animals and playing cards and things. It could turn into something else entirely because none of it makes any sense. It's all very silly. So we will finish this very silly story. Oh, I don't know. It's a pretty long chapter. We'll see how far we get tomorrow. If not, for sure we'll be through by Thursday. So, thank you for joining me. If there's something you would like to hear, you can always send me a message on Brightwheel, maybe, about the next book you'd like to read. If not, I think our next book will probably be Wind in the Willows. So, have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.